The night sky above Earth looked calm, but deep under a mountain range, a secret human base was shaking with noise and tension. Engineers ran across metal floors, screens flashed red warnings, and the air smelled of hot steel. This was Project Leapfire, the most dangerous experiment humanity ever created. General Rourke stood on the main platform, hands behind his back, watching the giant weapon in the center of the chamber. It looked like a long metal spine surrounded by glowing coils. It was not just a railgun. It was something new, something no one fully understood yet. Power at 90%, an engineer shouted. Rourke's eyes stayed fixed on the massive barrel. He had seen weapons before, but this one felt different. It hummed with a strange deep sound that made every bone vibrate. "Hold it steady," he ordered. Miles above them, in Earth's orbit, a small alien scout ship drifted silently, hidden behind darkness. The Galactic Council had sent the ship days earlier, after detecting strange energy from Earth. The Council believed humans were a primitive species, loud, emotional, unpredictable, but harmless. The scout captain, a thin blue-skinned being named Velan, watched Earth on his monitor with growing concern. "They are charging something again," he said. His second officer tilted her head, confused. "But their level of science is low. They cannot produce this kind of energy." Velan wasn't so sure. "Record everything. The Council will want proof." Back in the mountain base, the countdown began. 5, 4, 3. Every worker in the chamber held their breath. The railgun coils grew brighter, pulsing like a beating heart. Sparks jumped from one coil to another. 2, 1. Fire! A massive blast shot out from the railgun. The ground trembled. Walls shook. Every screen white flashed for a moment. The projectile, a heavy metal slug, launched at impossible speed, faster than any weapon mankind had ever created. But that was not the shocking part. The shocking part was the aftershock. A wave of invisible energy spread out from the firing point. It was not planned. It was not expected. It was like the railgun punched a hole into space for just a moment. Far above, Velan's scout ship screamed with alarms. "Captain," his officer shouted, "a shockwave is moving through space. It reached us in less than a second." Velan's eyes widened. "That is impossible for humans." The ship shook violently as invisible force passed through it. Lights flickered. Panels rattled. Even the air felt heavy. What did these beings create? Velan whispered. Down on Earth, the engineers stared at their screens in confusion. "What was that?" one asked. General Rourke looked at the readings. The numbers didn't make sense. "Sir," a young scientist said, "the projectile left the barrel at 20 times our last test speed. But something else happened. A secondary burst of energy. Like the gun bent gravity for a split second." Rourke frowned. "That's not possible." The scientist gave a nervous laugh. "Sir, the gun just did it anyway." Before they could inspect the weapon further, a loud alarm echoed through the chamber. "Unknown vessel detected in low orbit." Rourke straightened. "Visuals. Now." A screen showed the alien scout ship. Humans stared. No one spoke for several seconds. It wasn't a satellite. It wasn't debris. It was a ship. Sleek, metallic, with glowing blue lights. "Are we under attack?" someone whispered. Rourke narrowed his eyes. "Not yet, but they are watching." The scout ship, still shaken from the shockwave, drifted closer. Velan stared down at the humans, unsure what to do. The council instructions were clear. Observe only. But now he was worried. If Earth had created a weapon strong enough to disturb space, it meant the humans could be a threat. "We should send a warning shot," his officer suggested. Velan hesitated, then nodded. The scout ship aimed a small, harmless plasma beam near the mountain. It hit the atmosphere with a bright flash, meant only as a signal. But humans did not see it as a friendly gesture. In the control room, the building shook. "They fired at us." General Rourke's voice thundered. "Lock onto that vessel. Prepare a countershot." "Sir, we cannot use full power again," an engineer warned. "The weapon is unstable." Rourke glared at the screen showing the alien ship. "If they think Earth is weak, they will test us again. Fire with half power." The railgun charged, humming like a storm trapped inside metal. Alien sensors detected the charge instantly. "Captain!" Veland's officer cried. "They are aiming at us." "No, they cannot target us this fast." "But they could." The railgun fired. A blazing projectile shot through the clouds, leaving a glowing trail behind it. It reached the scout ship in less than a heartbeat. The impact was instant. Silent. Final. Veland's ship split apart, scattering debris into orbit. Every human in the control room stared at the screen. No one spoke. No one breathed. General Rourke finally whispered, "They weren't the first, but they won't be the last." Far away, the Galactic Council detected the explosion. They were silent for a long time. Then one voice finally said, "Humans have just destroyed a Council vessel. This changes everything." The destruction of the alien scout ship spread across every military screen on Earth. No one celebrated. No one smiled. The room stayed silent, filled with heavy fear. Humans had defended themselves, but they had also fired the first shot of something bigger. General Rourke stood in the center of the control chamber, jaw tight, eyes fixed on the floating debris in orbit. "They will come," he said quietly. "Whoever they are." Down in the engineering bay, Project Leapfire's railgun still crackled with leftover energy. The coils glowed a faint red, like embers after a fire. Scientists moved carefully around the machine, carrying scanners and replacement parts. Dr. Lien, the head scientist, studied the strange readings on her tablet. "This shouldn't be happening," she whispered. An engineer stepped beside her. "What's wrong?" "The weapon released a second energy burst," she said. "Not from the projectile, from space itself. As if the shot bent something invisible." The engineer scratched his head. "Like a gravity ripple?" "More than that." Dr. Lien looked uneasy. Almost like space opened for a moment. Before she could explain further, her screen flashed with a new warning. "Power spike detected. Unstable field forming." Dr. Lien's eyes widened. "Shut it down." "We can't. It's not responding." The railgun coils began to glow brighter, humming with deep, vibrating sound. Loose tools on the floor started trembling. A bottle rolled across the table by itself. The air felt strange, heavy, almost pulled in one direction. General Rourke rushed in. "What's happening now?" Dr. Lien didn't take her eyes off the weapon. "Sir, the field is bending again." The railgun released a sudden burst of blue light. A crate across the room vanished. Everyone froze. For a full second, there was only silence. Then a loud crash echoed outside the chamber. Soldiers ran out and found the missing crate lying 3 kilometers away, half buried in soil, as if it had been dropped from the sky. General Rourke stared at it, stunned. "Did we just move that?" Dr. Lien whispered. "Not move. Teleport." The word felt unreal inside the underground base. Teleportation belonged to science fiction, not to a human weapon built with metal coils and stolen parts. "But we didn't plan this," an engineer said shakily. "It happened by mistake." Rourke's expression hardened. "Mistake or not, we need to understand it." Far above Earth, the Galactic Council's emergency chamber filled with chaos. Dozens of alien leaders argued, shouted, and demanded answers. A tall, silver-skinned counselor slammed a crystal baton on the table. "Silence! This meeting is in order." A hologram of Earth appeared above the table. The destroyed scout vessel's last recording played in the air. The human's railgun blast looked like a star being born. Counselor Vurock hissed. "They shot down a council vessel with a single slug. We must retaliate." Another counselor shook her head. "Their energy signature shows technology far beyond their known level." "They are a primitive world," Vurock shouted. "They should not have such power." A scientist stepped forward nervously. "The shockwave from their weapon reached us. Instantly. I believe they created a temporary space fold." The chamber went silent. Everyone understood the meaning. Space folding was forbidden. Only the council had that knowledge. "And now," the scientist continued, voice trembling, "they have triggered it again. I believe they are attempting teleportation." Gasps filled the room. Vurock's eyes narrowed. If humans learn teleportation, the Council loses control. He raised his hand. I request a containment fleet. Earth must be locked down. No one disagreed. The order was approved. Back on Earth, the engineering bay was now filled with fear and excitement. Scientists scanned the railgun, checking every coil and panel. We need to run a controlled test, Dr. Lien said. Controlled. Rourke repeated. We don't even know how the first one happened. Dr. Lien sighed. True. But if the weapon is creating teleport windows, we must understand the pattern. Fine, Rourke said. Start with a small object. They placed a metal sphere on the loading pad. Lights dimmed. The gun hummed. The sphere glowed faintly, then vanished. Everyone looked around, waiting for the explosion, the noise, something. But nothing happened. Minutes passed. Then a sudden alarm blared on their communication screen. Unidentified object appeared in space, right next to alien debris. Rourke stared in shock. Did we just teleport that ball into orbit? Before anyone could answer, a second alert flashed. Another object detected. Unknown origin. Moving fast. The engineers exchanged confused looks. We didn't teleport a second object. Dr. Lien frowned. Then what? A deafening crash echoed through the chamber. The lights flickered. The ground shook violently. The teleport field around the railgun expanded on its own, glowing like a white storm. A huge metallic shape materialized inside the room, slamming into equipment, crushing walls. Soldiers screamed. Sparks flew. Dust filled the air. When the smoke cleared, the room froze in horror. A chunk of an alien ship, burned, twisted, and glowing with blue symbols, lay in the center of the chamber. General Rourke stared at it, unable to speak. Dr. Lien whispered, voice trembling. We didn't teleport this thing out there. We teleported their ship here. She swallowed hard. And now, they know exactly where we are. Far away in space, a massive council fleet turned toward Earth, engines burning bright. More than 100 warships. Coming fast. The alien metal chunk in the middle of the Project Leapfire chamber was still smoking when General Rourke walked toward it. Every step he took echoed in the silent room. Scientists stood back, eyes wide, unsure if the object was safe or ready to explode. Blue symbols glowed faintly across the curved surface. No one understood them. But everyone understood one thing. This piece came from the destroyed alien ship in orbit, and the teleport event had pulled it straight into the base. Dr. Lien examined the glowing marks with shaking hands. This proves it. The field didn't just move matter. It reached into space and grabbed something from the debris. General Rourke stared at the metal shard. Then they know our position. They know exactly where the teleport signature came from. No one spoke. The tension was heavy like thick smoke. A soldier rushed in, breathless. Sir. Satellite feed coming in. You need to see this. Rourke followed him into the control room. Screens flickered and locked onto a single image. A giant cluster of lights. Hundreds. Maybe more. All moving toward Earth. Dr. Lien whispered. Is that? The feed zoomed in. Sleek metal shapes appeared. Crescent-shaped hulls. Row after row of glowing engines. Alien warships, each larger than Earth's biggest submarines. General Rourke stared at the screen as the truth settled in. The Council is coming. Far across the void, aboard the lead Council flagship Orion, Counselor Vurock watched Earth grow larger on the main display. His expression was stone cold. No more hiding, he said. No more observation. This world has crossed the line. A young officer approached him nervously. Sir, long-range scans detect unstable teleport energy. The humans may be testing again. Vurock clicked his claws together in irritation. They learn too fast. Faster than any species we have studied. Another counselor moved beside him. We underestimated them. Our records say Earth is young, chaotic, undisciplined. They are, Vurock replied. But they are also dangerous. He turned to his fleet commanders. Activate the silence net. Every officer froze. The room went quiet. The silence net was not a weapon. It was a cage. A massive energy field capable of blocking communication, satellites, signals, even teleportation waves. Once activated, an entire planet would be isolated from the galaxy. One commander gulped. Sir, are we sure? This is a measure used only on hostile worlds. Vurock's eyes narrowed. Earth has attacked us. Their weapon is unpredictable. Their teleport field is unstable. If we allow them to evolve freely, they could disrupt the balance of the entire galaxy. He raised his hand. Activate it. The order spread through the fleet. Gigantic projectors opened like massive flowers along the sides of the warships. A faint blue barrier expanded outward, growing bigger, thicker, brighter. The silence net began its slow descent toward Earth. In the human control room, alarms erupted. Unknown field approaching. Signal interference rising. Communication satellites shutting down. General Rourke leaned forward. What is happening? A technician's voice shook. Something is surrounding the planet, sir. It's cutting us off from everything. Ground stations, satellites, even long-range radar. Dr. Lien checked her tablet. It's an energy cage. Once it closes, we cannot send or receive anything. Rourke's voice hardened. They're isolating us. The power in the room flickered again. The alien metal shard on the floor glowed brighter, reacting to the energy outside. Can we break the cage? Rourke asked. Dr. Lien hesitated. Maybe, if we use the teleport field again. But the field is unstable, Rourke reminded her. It could explode. She nodded. Yes, but if we do nothing, Earth becomes a prison. Rourke took a deep breath. Prepare the railgun for emergency activation. In orbit, Vurock watched the barrier form around Earth like a glowing shell. Once the silence net closes, he said, we will force them to hand over their weapon research. If they refuse, we will remove the threat permanently. Another officer spoke. Sir, their energy readings show activity in the mountain region. They may attempt to fire again. Vurock smirked. Let them try. The cage will contain their power. But the officer wasn't convinced. Humans are unpredictable. They do not stop when they should. Vurock ignored him. He did not understand humans. Not yet. In the mountain base, chaos filled the chamber once again. Scientists ran across the floor, tightening bolts, checking coils, stabilizing the core. Sparks flew from wires. The weapon hummed like a storm trapped under metal. Dr. Lien wiped sweat from her forehead. Power at 50%. We cannot go higher without risking a meltdown. General Rourke stood beside her. We don't need a weapon. We need control of the teleport. Control, she repeated. We barely understand it. Rourke pointed at the sky on the screen. If we don't control it now, we lose Earth forever. The coils reached a deep blue glow. The field around the gun grew denser, swirling like a vortex. Tools lifted off the tables. Papers flew. The air vibrated. Stabilize! Dr. Lien shouted. Trying! A bright flash exploded from the rails. The teleport field surged outward, expanding far faster than expected. It didn't just fill the chamber. It shot upward through the rock, through the mountain, and into the sky. Straight toward the silence net. Deep in space, alien sensors screamed. Vurock stood up. What is that? A blue tunnel of energy rose from Earth, twisting, spinning, burning like a spear of light. One officer whispered in terror. They are breaking the cage. The silence net cracked. The Council fleet drifted backward, shocked. And Earth's signal burst through space. Loud, clear, unstoppable. Earth was no longer silent. Earth was fighting back. The blue teleport beam that shot from the mountain was supposed to be unstable, wild, and impossible to control. But when it hit the silence net, something unexpected happened. It didn't explode. It didn't collapse. It connected, like two puzzle pieces snapping together. Dr. Lien stared at the readings in disbelief. The cage is feeding our field, and our field is feeding the cage. General Rourke leaned forward. Meaning what? It means the weapon is learning how to stabilize itself, she said. It's adjusting to the alien energy on its own. Rourke frowned. Weapons don't learn. Maybe not, she replied, but physics does. We triggered something new. The railgun hummed louder, the coils glowing a deeper blue. Instead of shaking apart, the machine stood steady, balanced, almost calm. A young technician ran in. Sir, the beam is rising in strength. It's pushing the silence net outward. Rourke looked at the screen showing the fleet outside Earth. The cage that once looked solid and unbreakable was now bending like thin glass. Keep it stable, he ordered. Dr. Lien nodded. We'll try. Aboard the Council flagship Orion, panic spread. The humans are breaking the net. How is that possible? They should not understand fold energy. Counselor Vurock slammed his fist on the console. Enough. Shut down the cage. Overload it. An engineer hesitated. Sir, if we overload the net while it is linked to their field, we may cause a fold rupture. What does that mean? Vurock demanded. It means the cage, the field, and space between them could tear. Vurock growled. Do it anyway. But before they could act, the human teleport field pulsed again. The silence net cracked further, then snapped like shattered crystal. A blinding wave of blue energy rippled through space. Every council ship shook violently. Vurock's eyes widened. Impossible! They broke an advanced council system in minutes. The officer whispered, horrified. Sir, humans learn too fast. Back on Earth, the chamber's lights grew steady again. The teleport beam faded gently until only the railgun coils glowed like deep blue embers. Dr. Lien checked the final readings. The field is stable. More stable than before. It synced with alien energy patterns. Rourke stared at the weapon. So we fired something we didn't understand. And now it understands us. Exactly, Dr. Lien said. Another technician shouted. Sir, short-distance objects inside the room are shifting. They all looked at the corner of the chamber. A toolbox flickered, disappearing then reappearing 1 meter away. A metal chair warped and appeared on the opposite side of the room. Teleport micro-jumps, Dr. Lien whispered. Small objects are being pulled and pushed by the stabilized field. Rourke stared at her. Can we do it with a ship? Dr. Lien froze. You want us to teleport a ship? If we can move one of our vessels even a few meters, Rourke said, we have a chance against the fleet. Dr. Lien bit her lip. We'll need to sync a teleport coil to human machinery. The railgun alone cannot move something that heavy. Rourke's voice hardened. Then we start now. Far above Earth, the Council fleet attempted to recover from the broken silence net. Shields down. Systems recharging. We must retreat to a safer range. Vurock stared at the wounded net drifting away in fragments. This planet is a threat to the galaxy, he growled. If we do not stop them now, others will follow their example. A tactical officer approached. Sir, humans are preparing something. Their energy readings show controlled fold spikes. Vurock turned sharply. Impossible. They cannot be controlling it. But the readings didn't lie. They are adapting, the officer said. Vurock clenched his jaw. Prepare the fleet for a concentrated orbital strike. No more warnings. In the mountain base, teams raced through the corridors carrying cables, coil rings, and portable generators. They moved toward a small experimental spacecraft in the hangar, an old test vehicle used for atmospheric jumps. Dr. Lien attached a glowing blue coil to the ship's belly. This coil will resonate with the railgun, she said. If we channel enough power, the ship will teleport a short distance. Rourke stepped inside the craft. Is it safe? No, she admitted. But it's our only chance. The technicians connected everything. The railgun began to hum again, building energy. The teleport field around it shimmered, forming ripples in the air. Ready, Dr. Lien said. Rourke strapped himself into the pilot seat. Launch us. Dr. Lien pressed the activation switch. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire hangar flashed white. The small spacecraft vanished. Everyone held their breath. 1 second passed. 2 seconds. 3. An alarm beeped on the far side of the base. Unidentified object detected inside the valley. Screen switched to an outdoor camera. The spacecraft sat in the snow, 5 kilometers away, perfectly intact. Dr. Lien's mouth fell open. It worked. A soldier whispered, "We just teleported a human ship." General Rourke stepped out of the craft, steam rising from its hull. He looked back at the mountain base, amazed. "Now we have something," he said. "Something the Council might fear." In orbit, alien sensors screamed again. "Sir," the officer said quietly, "a human ship just teleported." Vurock's face went pale. "We were right," the officer continued. "They learned too fast." Vurock turned to the fleet. "Prepare for full war." Earth was no longer a primitive world. Earth was evolving, and the galaxy was not ready for it. The snow in the valley had barely settled around the teleported test craft when alarms thundered through the entire mountain base. General Rourke turned toward the sky. Through the clouds, he could see faint lights, hundreds of them, moving in a tight formation. A cold wind swept through the valley, but it wasn't the weather that chilled him. "They're here," he whispered. The Galactic Council fleet had finally arrived in full force. High above Earth, the Council flagship Orion adjusted its position. Dozens of smaller battle cruisers shifted into a wide attack pattern. Their silver hulls glowed with blue symbols, engines humming with energy older than human history. Counselor Vurock stood in the command ring, his voice firm. "Target their main cities. Disable their power grids. Avoid full destruction, unless they attack first." The officers nodded, but the moment they activated their weapons, an unexpected spike of energy flashed from the planet's surface. "Sir," an officer shouted, "the humans are charging something again." Vurock frowned. "Another railgun?" "No, sir. Something else. Something new." The readings flickered in strange patterns. "Fold energy," the officer whispered. "Controlled, balanced, and very strong." Vurock stared at the screen with a growing unease. What are these creatures becoming? Back on Earth, General Rourke raced toward the control room. Technicians shouted updates. "Council ships in low orbit. They're targeting our satellites. Energy beams charging." Dr. Lien ran beside him. "We must use the teleport field. Now." Rourke gave her a quick nod. "Prepare the leap fire weapon. And bring the small ship online. We'll need both." The control room buzzed with activity. Screens lit up with enemy ship trajectories, railgun angles, and teleport coil readings. "Railgun charged to 50%, a technician said. "Teleport field stable," another added. "Ready for synchronized firing." Rourke looked up at the display showing the alien fleet descending. "Let's give them something to talk about." The first shot came from the Council. A bright blue beam cut through space, striking a human satellite and turning it into glowing dust. The shockwave rippled across the upper atmosphere. Vurock watched from the command ring. "Begin the sweep. One system at a time." But before the ships could fire again, a strange ripple appeared near their formation, like a wave on the surface of water. A human railgun slug teleported into existence right behind one of the cruisers. Boom! The slug smashed through the ship's backside, tearing it open. Metal fragments scattered into orbit. The Council bridge erupted in alarms. "Sir, they fired through a teleport window." "We cannot block that. They hit us from behind." Vurock spun around. "Find the source." But the source was already preparing another shot. In the mountain base, the railgun glowed a deep blue as it synced with the teleport coils. The weapon hummed smoothly, controlled, calm, deadly. Dr. Lien watched the readings. "Teleport jump stable. We can drop slugs anywhere within their formation." "Anywhere," Rourke repeated, "as long as the field stays balanced." Rourke nodded. "Then let's give them chaos." Firing. The railgun released another slug. A blue flash lit up the room as the teleport field tore open a tiny window in space. The slug disappeared. A second later, It appeared inside a Council destroyer's engine core. The ship exploded instantly. The sky above Earth burned with blue and orange light. On the Orion, officers shouted over the noise. They hit another one. Our rear defenses are useless. They are firing from impossible angles. Vurok slammed his claws against the console. Regroup. Circle formation. Shields forward. But even the shield formation didn't help. A third slug appeared, this time inside the shield ring itself, and blasted a cruiser's side clean off. The fleet shook. Beams misfired. Lights flickered. One officer looked at Vurok with fear. Sir, the humans are adapting faster than our systems. Vurok growled. No. This must end now. On Earth, the technicians cheered each successful hit. But Dr. Lien's expression darkened. Sir, something is happening to the teleport field. Rourke turned to her. What's wrong? It's growing stronger, she said quietly. And not by our control. Rourke's eyes narrowed. Explain. The field is absorbing the energy from each alien beam that hits the atmosphere. It's... A deep vibration shook the chamber. Loose equipment rose off the floor as if gravity itself was weakening. It's learning again, Dr. Lien whispered. The teleport field swirled with blue and silver patterns far more complex than anything humans programmed. Is it dangerous? Rourke asked. Everything about it is dangerous, she replied. But right now, it's helping us. Rourke looked up at the sky. Then let it. In orbit, Vurok realized the fight was slipping away. Pull back, he ordered. Retreat to high orbit. But sir, retreat now. The fleet began to pull upward, just as the teleport field on Earth pulsed again. This time not as a controlled beam, but as a wide wave. A shock across the sky. Every council ship shook violently. Smaller vessels spun out of control. Telemetry screens went dark. Sir, an officer cried. Their field just overlapped with our warp drives. We cannot jump. We cannot flee. Vurok stared at the blue glow spreading across his fleet. This isn't a weapon anymore, he whispered. It's evolution. The fleet was trapped. Earth had seized the edge of light itself, and the Council was beginning to break. The blue wave spread through orbit like a giant invisible tide. Every Council ship cracked, shuddered, or froze in place. Lights dimmed. Gravity fields flickered. Inside the command ring of the Orion, Councillor Vurok stood completely still as the panels around him went dark one by one. Report, he said. His voice was steady, but his officers felt the fear behind it. Our warp drives are locked, one replied. Something is holding them down. Shields falling. Weapons offline. And the humans are recharging their railgun. That last sentence hung in the air like a cold blade. Vurok stared at the blue glow coming from the planet. This cannot be. They should not have this power. Another officer looked at him with wide eyes. Sir, what if we pushed them into it? Vurok knew the truth. They had. Down in the mountain base, the teleport field pulsed like a beating heart. A quiet humming filled the room, rising and falling in a strange rhythm. Dr. Lien watched the readings on her screen. None of the numbers made sense anymore. It's no longer following our commands, she said softly. General Rourke didn't look away from the main display showing the alien fleet trapped in orbit. But it's still helping us, he said. And right now, that's all that matters. One of the younger technicians gulped. Sir, what if it starts helping itself? Rourke didn't answer. Because he didn't know. Dr. Lien turned toward him. The teleport field is alive in its own way. It learns from danger. The more pressure it feels, the stronger it becomes. The Council fleet attacking Earth. That was the last push. So what is it doing now? Rourke asked. It's protecting its source, she said. Us. In orbit, the Council fleet tried to form a defensive wall. But the wall shook. The defensive rings broke apart. Ships drifted like helpless metal islands. A few small fighters tried to fly down toward Earth, but their engines sputtered and died before reaching the atmosphere. The teleport wave held everything in its grip. One officer staggered toward Vurok. Sir, each time we try to move, The wave reacts. It is scanning us, reading our systems, copying our models. Vurock's eyes widened. Copying. Yes, the officer said. Matching frequencies. Mimicking our shields. Even our warp code. The idea was horrifying. The wave wasn't just stopping them. It was learning from them. Vurock looked down at Earth, a small bright world surrounded by a quiet blue ring. This is not a primitive race anymore, he whispered. This is a new power. Back at Earth's mountain base, the technicians watched as the blue field spread further and faster. It's expanding, sir, someone said. Not upward, outward. Rourke frowned. Outward where? Across the Earth. Across the sky. Dr. Lien took a step closer to the main window. Her voice trembled, not with fear but with awe. It's building a shield around the planet. A shield? One soldier repeated. Yes, a complete shell. No one in, no one out. Rourke gripped the console. Can we control it? No, Dr. Lien whispered. We can only hope it knows what it's doing. The shield brightened. Rivers of blue light stretched across the sky like glowing cracks in the air. Earth was becoming a fortress. In orbit, panic spread across the Council fleet. The blue shield was rising from the surface, climbing toward them, closing in like a giant dome of light. Sir, if the shield completes, we will be trapped inside or crushed against it. Move the ships. Vurock roared. Push through before it locks. But the ships barely moved an inch. The wave pressed on them harder. Metal creaked. Panels shattered. The fleet shivered like leaves in a storm. Vurock clenched his fists. He had been trained his whole life to believe the Council was unbreakable, a power that shaped galaxies, a force that never lost. But here, against this small world, they were losing everything. On Earth, the teleport field reached its peak. The humming became a soft, steady tone, like a distant bell. Dr. Lien stared at the curve of the shield visible through the screen. It's almost done, she said. Rourke exhaled slowly. Then let's end this. He turned toward the Railgun crew. One last shot. Aim for the flagship. The technicians nodded and rotated the Railgun turret. Dr. Lien watched him carefully. General, are you sure? Rourke's voice was heavy. If the Council survives, they'll come back. They always come back. The Railgun charged. The coils glowed blue. Light swirled around the barrel like liquid fire. The teleport field shifted, opening a perfect window straight to the Orion's command ring. Firing, the gunner said. The slug launched. For a heartbeat, the world fell silent. In the command ring of the Orion, Vurock felt the air tremble. Screens flickered. Warning lights flared. Then a small, bright flash appeared right in front of him, like someone striking a match in darkness. He understood instantly. This world, he whispered, was never meant to be controlled. The slug appeared, and the flagship shattered. Blue fire consumed the ring. Metal exploded outward. Lights went dark forever. The Orion broke apart in a silent burst of fragments. The rest of the fleet fell into chaos, helpless under the rising shield. Ships collided. Hulls cracked. Engines died. The teleport wave completed the dome around Earth. The Council fleet was finished. In the mountain base, the main display dimmed as the last alien ship went dark. Everyone stood still. Then cheers filled the chamber. But Rourke didn't smile. Dr. Lien didn't smile either. Because they both knew the truth. Humanity had won the battle. But they had awakened something far bigger. On the mountain floor, the teleport field pulsed again. Soft, slow, patient. Almost like it was waiting. For the first time in human history, the sky glowed blue. Not the soft blue of daylight. Not the dark blue of evening. This blue was sharp, bright, alive, stretching from horizon to horizon like a giant dome. The shield hummed softly, a distant echo that every person on Earth could feel in their bones. It was beautiful and terrifying. In the mountain base, alarms finally went silent. No more warnings. No more enemy signals. Just a calm, glowing map of Earth wrapped in the teleport shield. General Rourke stood with his hands on the edge of the console. The room buzzed with energy, but his eyes were fixed on one thing. The shield was moving. Not flickering. Not shifting. Moving. Like it was breathing. Dr. Lien adjusted her glasses and slowly stepped closer to the main screen. "It's changing form," she said. Rourke frowned. "Explain." "The pattern," she replied. "Every few seconds, the light bends inward, then outward, like lungs." One soldier gulped. "So it's alive?" Dr. Lien didn't answer. Because she wasn't sure anymore. Far above the planet, the remains of the Council fleet drifted silently. Small pieces of metal burned in the shield's light, fading like dust. No more threats remained. Yet the shield did not fade. In fact, its glow intensified. Inside the base, one technician suddenly pointed at the readings. "Sir, the shield isn't just protecting us. It's scanning the entire planet." Rourke stepped closer. "Scanning for what?" "We don't know. The wave is passing through oceans, mountains, cities. It's marking resources, energy sources, everything." Someone whispered, "Is it searching for enemies?" Dr. Lien looked uneasy. "No, this feels different. It feels like it is learning the planet. Every detail." Rourke stared at the glowing dome. "Why would it need that?" She looked down at her screen. "To reshape something, you must first understand it." Rourke froze. "Reshape," he repeated. Dr. Lien nodded slowly. "The teleport field evolved too fast. We gave it too much energy. The alien systems fed it more. The battlefield forced it to defend itself. Now, it may want to grow." The room went silent. Grow. What did that even mean? Hours passed. The shield kept breathing. Slow, powerful, steady. People around the world stared at the glowing sky. Some filmed it. Some prayed. Some panicked. None understood what was happening. In the mountain base, the pressure increased. The readings flickered rapidly. "Sir," someone shouted, "the shield is rising into higher orbit." Rourke stepped forward sharply. "Is Earth in danger?" "No, sir. It's not harming the planet. It's expanding its reach." Dr. Lien's voice trembled slightly. "It's not a shield anymore. It's becoming a shell." The dome grew taller, stretching toward space. The glow intensified. Lines of light formed patterns, circles, spirals, symbols no human recognized. Rourke muttered, "This was not in any plan." And then something strange happened. The shield split. Not breaking, but forming a doorway. A gap opened, wide and perfectly shaped, like a giant gate facing the stars. Every sensor in the base lit up. "What is it doing?" Rourke demanded. Dr. Lien stared, stunned. "It's making a path." "For who?" She swallowed hard. "I think, for the humans." A silence thicker than steel filled the room. The teleport field wasn't just defending Earth. It was inviting Earth to step out. Suddenly the floor vibrated. A deep pulse echoed through the base. Every monitor went white for half a second. Then a strange symbol appeared, formed by the shield's own energy, drawn across the sky like a huge glowing mark. "What does it mean?" someone whispered. Dr. Lien traced the lines with her eyes. "It looks like coordinates." "Coordinates to where?" Rourke asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Stars. A cluster far outside Council territory." Rourke stared at her. "So the field wants us to go there?" "Yes," she said. "It's showing us a path. A doorway to another part of the galaxy." A soldier stepped closer. "But why help us? Why guide us?" Dr. Lien sighed. "Maybe because we created it. Maybe because we fed it. Maybe because we pushed it into life. But one thing is clear. It sees us as part of its future." Rourke looked at the glowing doorway in the sky. It felt unreal, like the beginning of something huge, bigger than the Council, bigger than Earth, bigger than everything humanity ever imagined. "So," he muttered, "the Council came to control us." Dr. Lien nodded. "And instead, they triggered our evolution." Far beyond the ruined Council fleet, in the cold dark of deep space, small fragments of data drifted from a broken beacon. The Council was gone, but its distress signal had already traveled far. A shape moved through the distant void. Something massive. Something ancient. Something the Council had always feared but never spoken of. Eyes opened in the darkness. And somewhere in that silence, a deep voice whispered, "Humans have awakened the gate field. The path has opened again." Back on Earth, the doorway in the shield pulsed brighter and brighter. Dr. Lien looked at Rourke. "This isn't the end," she said. "It's the beginning." Rourke nodded slowly. "Then we step through," he said. The shield breathed once more, calm, powerful, patient, waiting for humanity to take its first step into the unknown.